can be tricky at times, but we
Yeah.
know that everything happens for a reason. And we are excited that you are here with us. As you're coming on, let us know that you're here and where you're watching from. If you're not here in the metropolitan Atlanta area, or even if you are here in the metro Atlanta area, let us know where you're joining us from. We are happy that you are here. For those of you who are not aware, my name is Chelselia Cookie Payne. I am the founder of Pain and Glory Incorporated. We are a nonprofit organization located right here in the metropolitan Atlanta area. We stand upon three main platforms in our organization, the three of them being domestic violence awareness and prevention, women's health and wellness, and our initiative, which is what this is a part of, which is Pain in the Pews Mental Health and Ministry, where we bridge the gap between the faith communities and the mental health communities, understanding that you can indeed have faith and have professional help as pertains to our mental health. So I welcome you guys for joining in. Hello, calling. Hello, Cheryl from Springfield, Missouri. We are so happy that you are here, joining in. Thank you for being a part of tonight's broadcast. We are excited. I'm excited, and in a moment, you will be excited to have joining with us this dynamic woman of faith and a vision. As I started to share with you guys on last night, I really don't remember when we met, but I'm so glad that we met. And because when she, as I said last night, and I mean this honestly and earnestly, when she speaks, so much wisdom comes from her, and she's so humble with it. She comes from a pure part in her heart, and not only wisdom but knowledge and understanding as well, which is so important. And that is due to a couple of things. That's due to one, of course, education, and the other definitely the anointing of God that is placed on her life.
I hope.
So let me tell you who we have. We have
Like,
we have
wow, thank
Professor
you.
we have Professor Kiba Richmond Green. She is licensed marriage and family psychoanalyst. She is a relationship coach. She's a consultant. She's a published author. She's an international speaker, and I love one thing I know to be true. She is indeed a visionary. I indeed welcome Professor Kiba Richmond Green to tonight's segment. Yay!
We got all the kinks worked out, y'all. Yay. Thank
Yes,
you, thank you, thank
yes,
you.
yes. I'm so glad. I see people are joining. Hey, Elder
Yes, yes,
Michelle
yes, yes.
Johnson, thank you so much for joining in. Listen, guys, we are in for a treat because as you saw in the title, listen, we're talking about relationships, faith, and the pandemic. We are talking about relationships, faith, and the
Yeah,
pandemic. Listen, we are in a time that no one has experienced before,
yeah.
not on this level, not globally. Not,
Mm-mm.
I mean, you may have experienced something similar in that you may have been at some point in your life sick and shut in, and you may not have been able to go somewhere when you wanted to. That might have been the case, but that was temporary. Hey, Doc Indy, you may have been in a situation where you weren't able to, for legal reasons, to go where you wanted to go. Um,
Right.
but if you're on this broadcast, you clearly know that that was temporary, and we know that this indeed that we're experiencing now is temporary. But listen, this is a situation where it's a whole different, we're dealing with a whole different dynamic. And I'm gonna let Professor Kiba jump in here, and here's the different dynamic that we're dealing with. We've got parents who are now at home with their children, who were used to having an 8 to 10 to 12 hour gap of time where they were away from the home, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're now having husbands and wives who may be at home because maybe one or both spouses are teleworking, or one or both spouses their job situation may have shut down. um, we're in a different dynamic, and everybody's not holding hands and singing kumbaya. you know
Not
there
at all.
there there's some issues going on. And Professor Kiba, you and I had a great conversation the other day, and I just want to just kind of press rewind and just bring in those that are viewing with us, bring them into the conversation, because we're dealing with relationships, And for those listening, and I'm going to turn this over to Professor Kiba. For those listening, we're not just talking about marriage. We're
Mm-mm.
talking about married, single. Some of you have family members who are with you right now in the
Mm-hmm.
home. And it's not a marriage situation. It could be a cousin, niece, nephews.
Right.
Elderly parents. We're talking about relationships. So, Dr.
Period. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear from the professor. Let ah, so talk to us about what's going on.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. And it's coming to a head at this point because now I have to address it.
Yeah, yeah,
I may have been able to scapegoat and go to work, or like you said, scapegoat and go to school
yeah,
and
yeah.
push it back and push it off for so long. But it's come to the point now where, oh my God, I didn't realize all this was going on, or maybe I did realize it and I didn't want to deal with it. So yes, kids, child abuse is rampant. I'm sure, we know domestic violence calls are up, divorce is up, everything is up, and not just negative. I mean, but I want you to be aware that, like, I was having a conversation right before me and you got on about pastor wives. Think about that, and pastors. So
Right.
think about, because I know you do a lot with the ministry
Yeah,
and talking about things that are hidden in the ministry and what we don't talk about
yeah,
from the pulpit. But
yeah.
think about pastors who have hid behind the church for so long, who now have to be quarantined in their home with their families that they've let the church, that they've hidden behind the church for so long. Now they got to see that child that they've abandoned. You see what I'm saying? Or that wife that they've abandoned for years in the pulpit, and now you have to sit down and realize, like, oh my God, like, this is my marriage and this is my reality. And so I think that this time for us is going to bring about such a change in a lot of ways, not just bad, but hopefully good, and get us back to basics and back to perspective and back to what's important,
Right.
and family, getting back to what's important. And so I hope that people are taking this time to do the work and
Do
not,
the work.
yeah, do the work.
Do
So
the
yeah.
work. Interesting that you should say, Kiba, that you just had a conversation about pastors and pastors' wives, because this was something I was looking into earlier this morning. Like literally early this morning, I was reading about two pastors that are recently divorced. Recent,
Mm,
like within recent.
okay.
And it made me think about this pastor who was on Facebook Live. And they were talking about mental health in the pulpit actually, and he was talking about um, he was saying that he realized he knew what he was doing. And I said this on a broadcast recently. He said that he knew that when he hit that pocket, that pocket of anointing, that pocket in church where he hit that zone. He said he purposely was holding service longer, holding people there longer. He knew it because he enjoyed that exhilaration, that presence of God,
That.
what that the whole thing. He'd rather stay there than go home and face what he was facing.
Mm,
He
mm,
said this. He said, "I would have rather stay there and keep the people long." He said, "I knew I was keeping them long in church, but I'd rather do that than go home." So then, what you just explained just now, now we're quarantined in here. This is not a suggestion.
no.
This is this is real. This is real stuff.
So now you gotta put on the clothes on Sunday morning and still act like everything is good in that environment that it's
Yeah,
not good anymore. Think
yeah,
about that, and go live stream with a congregation that
yeah.
think you got it together, and you about to pull your hair out Monday through Saturday because you don't have that place to run to anymore. So
Right.
absolutely. So not only that, but again with the parents and the children, because like I said, it really disappointed me but I understand it disappointed me to hear all the parents upset that they had to be home with their children.
Right.
And I'm like, these are your children. Like,
Right.
these are your little yous that you created, and you
Right.
mad because you created this, but you
And
want
then
to
put it
send
on
them
social media like
them.
their kids can't read.
No, not
Well,
only that, but then you would send them off to the school and expect other people to deal with your little use that
right,
you don't want to deal with 8 hours
right,
a day.
right.
So, so like, yeah, we got to get back to understanding, like, yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a
But
problem happening.
if you could
Yeah,
stay right there
it's a
for just a moment.
situation. I'm sorry, it's a situation. Let
It's
me
a
say
situation,
that.
but it's not unresolvable.
Not at all. Not at
It's
all.
not unresolvable. But if you could go right back there to the children, because we're dealing with kids who are traumatized. We all are traumatized in some type of way. We all are dealing with this in our own way. But children specifically don't know how to really articulate what's going on. So they may be a little bit more clingy now. They may be a little bit more needy, for lack of a better term. They may be want to be up on the mama or daddy, and it doesn't matter their age. They could be, little kids. They can be teenagers. They may, or they may just have, sporadic mood swings or whatever the case may be, because they don't know. They hear the same news that we hear. They see the news.
Exactly.
They're,
Exactly.
we're all, we're taught, limit the screen time for our kids, but now that's all they have now. So now you've got
And
social
they
media.
don't know how to interact with you either, because you ain't spent
That's
no
what I'm
time with
saying.
either. You understand what I'm saying? So you ain't
That's
spent
what
no
I'm
time
saying.
with them either, so they don't know how to respond to you. So they're trying to feel it out as well. So like you said, and then like you say, all the dynamics of what's happening in the world, and the news is constantly bombarding them, and they're reacting off of your emotions.
Right.
And so,
Right. And then
was
they
that
gotta
you?
hear that they don't want to be at home with me.
Right.
Now they gotta
What
hear.
does that say to them? Right.
Right.
I'm sick of them, or I'm tired of them. I wouldn't be ready when they go back to school, or they eat too much, or they
Right.
messy, or whatever we say. Was it
Right.
you telling me about the little kid in school who the teacher said something about to the okay, so I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said that their daughter is a teacher or something, and the teacher.
Oh yes, the
Yeah.
3-year-old. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. That blew me away, to know that a parent would say something so harsh to a 3-year-old child,
It's just
um
insanity.
that
I'm sorry.
and saying something without going into much detail, but she, this parent said, um pretty much told the child, don't ask me for nothing when we get home. Don't ask me for nothing. And she said some other things that someone would say to a teenage child or an adult child, and he was 3. And it was heartbreaking, um, to hear it. I wasn't there. The teachers heard it,
Right.
and she didn't say it in a joking manner. And this blew me away. So what's going on in the home? If
Exactly.
she felt
Exactly.
that free and open to say it out in public, what's going on in the home? And my
Right.
heart just ached.
You know what's going on in the home. They
Yeah,
yelling and they screaming and they hitting, right? That
yeah,
mean I'm attacking you when you're doing something that that's out of line of what is disturbing my peace, or what I think is my peace.
right.
You're hitting and you're yelling and you're screaming,
Yeah,
and you're mistreating and you're abusing, and you're punishing.
and
If
neglecting.
it's with food, or if it's not, or if you're putting them in front of the TV all day,
Right,
or the video game all day, or letting them stay up all night and sleep all day so they don't bother you. Um, it's yeah, a lot of neglect, a lot of neglect. And so again, this type of trauma, what is it going to do when it's time to go back to school? See, I don't think anybody think about that effect.
right,
How is this going to affect them when they get back into the classroom again? Because now teachers have to rework, redo all this work that it took them all year to get to this point where they had a class that listened and sat down. And I have to start all over again.
right,
It's with traumatic people. Think about that, with people
right,
who've been traumatized. And so, um, and like I said, a friend of mine always says, don't say what's wrong with you, ask what happened to you. Because that is so real. What
right,
happened to you that you would do this to your children? What happened to you that you think you should treat a 3 year old or talk to a 3 year old like that? Like, what happened to you in your life
right,
that you would take food from a child,
right,
or beat on a child, so all those things.
right. And here's the thing, you said about, being prepared, when they go back to school. I said this the other day, our churches need to be prepared for when the church doors are able to open up again, because there are going to be so many people who weren't going to church before, but
Right.
now
Right.
trauma, these we listen, people are looking for answers, hope, help, healing, and experiencing physiological things that they hadn't experienced before,
Absolutely.
or
Yes.
things that they hadn't even thought about now are dredged up, because now there's so
Right.
much anxiety, so now it's coming up, it's boiling up to the top. So now the churches, now more than ever, need to be preparing now. They don't need to be getting prepared when the church doors open. They don't need to be getting extra envelopes getting ready for the crowd. They
Right.
need to get people, get in
Get the
partnership with.
counseling
There
and the
you go.
mental health
There you go.
and the spiritual health ready
Yes.
for
Yes.
the influx of what's about to happen or what
Yes.
is
What
happening.
is happening?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the spillage, you know what I'm saying, the
Yeah.
overage of
Yeah.
what's going to happen from what's happening now. And
Right.
so you're absolutely correct. But since we're so reactive, we're such a reactive, community and
Yeah.
world, like
Yeah.
we're not even thinking in those terms. I don't think a lot of people are even thinking in terms of afterwards. Everybody
After.
is just ready to get to
Yeah.
open the door. No, afterwards,
Yeah.
like this
Yeah.
world will never be the same. And so also comes to speak to, this is the first of many to come, right? So
Right.
this is only the first of many to come. So how are we going to prepare the world for that, and especially our young people?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on all. You hit the nail on all of them. I'm telling you, because this is necessary. This conversation is necessary. This is when we talk about preparation, and when we talk. That's why I'm hosting these series that are happening every Monday night. That's why, well, Tuesday today, but every Monday, because I want people to know, not only do we need to be prepared, but there's help. You're not alone. If you're in your home in
Please don't know.
relationships, whether married, single parent, single person, older person, whatever your dynamic is, you're not alone. And there's some things that you can do to kind of to step away, take a breath,
Yes, please
breathe,
breathe.
breathe,
Like,
and
I
do
don't think
some
we
things.
understand the importance of breathing,
Yeah,
proper breathing, like getting
yeah,
that oxygen to the brain. We don't breathe properly, we just kind of breathe and, go on. But proper breathing, getting that oxygen to the brain so that you can unclog the brain, unfog the brain, so that you can process. When
yeah,
you're in trauma, when you're in stress, you can't process, you can't function in trauma. That's why they say you can't see the forest for the trees, because you are in the midst of it. So
mhm,
when you come out and you turn around and you look back and say, I was in that forest, yeah, you were,
yeah.
because you're in a fog. And so I know Miss Pearl on here asked me what is some things you can do, like for students. I think first of all, we need to turn the TV off.
Hello,
Turn the TV off
hello,
now.
hello,
Like, we've
and
seen enough.
that includes devices too.
All that stuff that is talking about COVID-19,
Yes,
COVID anything,
yes,
like I have a friend, she says she don't even say the word. She's like, it's just called the C word. Stop saying it.
mm,
Stop magnifying it. Stop,
right,
magnetizing it to the point that you are living and breathing it, which festers it. I
right,
say the same thing about cancer. I say the
mhm,
same thing about, and I know I may get some flack for this, but I say the same thing about cancer and domestic violence. When we walk around with these ribbons and all this stuff that promotes it, we
mm,
are intensifying it. See, we are building it up. It's spiritual. If you
come on, man,
want it gone, you got to speak against it. You can't keep
come on,
speaking at it. So you can't keep talking about it and manifesting it. You got to speak against the thing that is coming against you. So stop saying it. Stop
right,
saying the word. Number one, turn the TV off. Number two is, of course, for parents who are in a position, or people who are in a position to help these students process anxiety. Like, I know it's hard because a lot of adults can't.
right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the problem is they don't even have resources or social skills to even process what's happening. So how can you help your child process when you don't even know how to process? So I mean, get some help, call somebody, talk to somebody. No, we may not be able to come to you now, but it's several therapists out here who doing telehealth and they're waiving their fees and all type of things. So call somebody and ask for some help. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Let the pride go. At this point, we all in a situation.
All of us. Yeah.
One or another. We all in a situation. So ask for help. And then I think three, do your work. Do your work. Like you're in it now. You see it for what it is. Stop being in denial. Stop acting like it don't exist. It exists. It's probably, a lot worse than what you thought. So let's deal with it. Let's work on it. So do your work and
Right.
start working toward fixing the problem. And I think that's the problem is that we've been in denial so long. We were able to push things back for so long
Right.
that we can no longer do that. And I believe that's why God shut the world down, literally. Like, okay, we can't keep going at this rate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And I love, I posted everything that you just was sharing with us because and what I meant to put on here, I'm putting it on here right now. Breathe. Oh my gosh. I don't think people understand the
They
importance of
don't.
what
They
you
do
just said.
not.
One of the things that I do, it's funny because I saw and I posted on Facebook earlier today or yesterday. At this point, my days are running together. I'm just be honest with you,
I
but
understand. I promise you. It's Friday every time I look up, but go ahead.
right. But I posted, a doctor was talking about breathing and how it helps with your respiratory system.
Mhm.
That's all well and great, but what I have been doing for my own self is I
Mhm.
breathe in, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe in four
Yes.
seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out 8 seconds. And it's amazing how I notice that my shoulders relax. I notice that my cheeks, my jaws start to unclench because I don't even realize that I'm unclenching my teeth and don't even realize it. So my jaw relaxes, my shoulders relax. My like you talked about the fog because too much of
That fog, I'm
screen
telling you, is
time
real. Yes.
actually too much screen time actually affects that fogginess as well. And
Everything.
now that's all we got. So the breathing does help and absolutely 1000% getting outside of the four walls of
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
talking about
Go
getting your
outside
car.
and get some fresh air.
Please. I'm not talking about I'm not still social
Excuse me.
distancing is still
Mhm.
thing, but you go outside your front door, your back door, front porch,
But let me
whatever.
say this because I did forget this,
Yes,
Chelsea.
yes,
Your food right now matters so much. The food you're eating, it matters so much. Like we talk about physical, spiritual, mental, emotional.
yeah, yeah,
It all of that food is playing a role in also what's happening in the home as well. Because you cannot process either when you full of junk.
that is so true.
So I know everybody is binge watching and snacking. We just talked about snacking before we got on here, right?
Yes,
I
yes,
don't get me wrong, I'm a chip girl. I love chips. But I'm saying to you is throw some juice in there, throw some
yeah,
fruits in there,
yeah,
please for love, some water.
yes,
Water. Like God had me researching, like, do you realize like 75% of the body is water, right?
right,
And then 75% of the earth is water. So he had me researching that, like, that's not a coincidence, Kiva, that I made it 75%. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's
right,
that important. Like,
right,
we need to be drinking water,
right,
breathing air, like you said,
yes,
eating fruits and vegetables, please. I don't know
yeah,
how many parents I know don't feed their kids vegetables. Like just meat and bread. What in the world? Like
oh.
you know what I'm saying? So make some smoothie pops. If you think they're not gonna eat them, you can juice and freeze it and make it a popsicle. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Or it's so many different ways. Now they have every type of thing you can imagine for vegans and natural and healthy people. So, and
Yeah,
they had
you
to
can
add
go
some
on
taste
Pinterest
to
and
it,
get all kinds of ideas.
all type of ideas. So that is the most important. But definitely, like you said, water, water. They need to be
Water.
drinking water so they can think. You
Yeah,
cannot think when you full of soda
right.
and sugar.
This is
Like
This is true. And
You
then
you
you think
lazy,
about it.
you want to sleep, you're
Right,
sluggish.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And that segues wonderfully. And I think we have some questions on here. Thank you, Cheryl, for posting on here some of the things that we've been saying.
Yes, thank you,
So
Cheryl.
so here's the thing. When you talked about, not being able to think and, being sluggish and not, because we're at home, here's something, and the whole dynamic of where we are now. This is our new reality for right now. And like you said, it's spurs of many. So who's to say what's going to come next? However, I was listening to the radio sometime last month. This is at the beginning of when we started
The
um,
home, stay at home.
exactly the shelter in
hmm
place. So this one woman called in, and at the time it was funny. And keep in mind now, at the time it was funny. It was a segment. It was a real life. It wasn't how they do little skits or whatever. It was a real person. It was a real call. And she was saying that now that her husband is home and she's home, they had small children, and he wasn't doing anything. She
mm,
she had to work,
mm.
work from home, make sure the kids were up and fed, make sure that they, did their school work or whatever. And he was just la 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 la.
Chilling. He
Right.
was he was on
So right.
vacation.
Right. So she was fed up. And so she had called into the radio station to get some suggestions on what she should do about her husband that was not chipping in. Okay. So they gave her some ideas. So what she did was she gave they were little kids. Her kids are little kids. Gave them pots and pans, and sent them. They did a little parade through the house, pots and pans, and went and woke up daddy. And he's like, I gotta, I'll get the kids, breakfast and all like this. And so she sat the kids down in the floor, and she went into one of the rooms in the house, and she went, started working, doing her work. She said she said that she got them all hocked up on sugar. She gave them like Pop Tarts and and juice before he came out. Now at the time that was funny. Now,
Right.
now we're about 3 weeks in now.
Yeah.
I'm sure
They about to
that that's
lose it.
not the only case.
hmm
The spouse, husband or wife, not helping out. That one spouse is doing all the work while the other one is like, "You got this," and that is a place of contention. That is a
Absolutely.
place of arguments, and now you've got a whole different dynamic now that you're not helping me. I've got to be the school teacher. I
Oh
got
my God.
I got to be the housekeeper. I've got to,
Everything. Yeah.
I
And
still
then be
got
the
to
wife at night. Then I gotta be the wife at night.
hello, hello,
Right.
and still work my job because we got to
Right.
still have an income. We so how what would you say, because that, although that was a call on a radio show, that's pretty much a common thread that is flowing through a lot of
It
households.
is. It
What
is. I just had a
suggestions?
situation like that with a client, but this is the first thing I tell women, like you teach people how to treat you. So
Mm-hmm.
you've created this world, and now you see that it's not working and you're mad because you created this world. Because we as women, and I know I may get some, but we as women, think about it. They can't do it right. It ain't never good enough. When they do it, it ain't. I might as well do it myself. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to pick and choose your battles. Like what I always say, you want to be right or you want peace.
Hmm.
You want to be right or you want peace. You can't have it both ways. So you either gonna let him do it and just deal with how he did it, because he did do it, because they're going to do it the way they do it. See, they
Right.
can't do it the way you want them to do it, because that's
Right.
the way you do it.
Right.
But not only that, but then that's a conversation also that you have to go back to the table. So, okay, honey, maybe, in the past you've been working, I've been working, this has been our roles. But now we have to talk about reversing roles here now, because we're in a different situation and everybody is in the house. So we need to sit down and figure out how we're going to do this together, because I can't do this by myself. Because if I am going to do this by myself, then I'm going to do it by myself. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
it's just about communication. You have to have the conversation, because a lot of times we don't have the conversation, especially as women. We hold it in and then we blow up. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Or we get upset and then we don't say anything and we get stressed out and we're mad at them and they don't know why we're mad, because they can't read our mind and they don't think like us, right? Because they're men and they're different and they don't think like us. He's not even thinking about he's not even thinking about helping because he's never had to help before.
Right.
So you have to
Right.
sit him down and have that conversation with him. Yes, we think that's just common sense. Why wouldn't you know? Because this is not my world. This is not what I do every day. This is what you do every day. So
Right.
it doesn't cross my mind to do that. So have the conversation with them. But number two, like I said, we also have to take accountability, like I said, because we create this mess and then we get mad when it's a mess.
It's a
And
mess.
it's a mess.
It's a
And
mess.
so we mad at the world, you know what I'm saying? And saying, I'm saying, but no, but we like it. We like the power. We like being in charge and running the house and all. We like it
But we just want
until
it,
until we don't like it no
until
more.
we don't like it. And then a lot of times the issue is we don't know how to
That's true.
communicate.
And we don't know how to delegate
Right,
either.
exactly.
We don't know how to
We're gonna
delegate.
build up and build up and build up, and now
Yes,
when it comes out as an explosion
it
instead of
is.
a conversation.
You're right.
So
That's true.
what? How when you speak about communication, how how do we communicate?
Like I think I would try to, the first to sit down and talking first, see if that works. May not work. But like I said, you also have to back up. Once you talk, it's like your children. It's just like you would do your children. Once you've made the statement that this is what I expect, or this we've come to an agreement on something, then back up and let them do it. Give them the space to do it. Don't be hounding and hovering over them saying, well, you said you were gonna, and you said you were gonna clean the kitchen, and you know,
Right.
you
That
can't do that. You can't do that. And
right.
so, and then again, like it's not on your time.
Right.
And if it is on your time, then you need to specify that in the communication.
Right.
Dear, I would like the kitchen clean before we go to bed at night. You got to be very specific with men.
Specific. Yeah.
Please be
Yeah.
very detailed. I
Yeah.
ain't saying treat them like a child, but yeah, be detailed, and then back up
Right.
and let them do it. Give them space to do it. But number two, if that doesn't work, what I've always learned in relationships and what I've learned to grow to learn is you be the example.
Gotcha.
When you close your mouth and stop talking, something will change. If
Mm.
you're praying, if you
There
say
it
you're praying and you're
is.
asking for help, then close your mouth and let it change.
Ah,
But a lot of times we want to do both. See, we want to pray and fuss, and you can't do both because God,
okay.
like, well, when you shut up and get out the way, then I can work, but I can't work because you won't move.
Right. You're canceling it out. You are canceling it out.
You won't get out the way. Get
Right.
out the way and let me work on him. But
Right.
and you do what you're supposed to do. And
Exactly.
so, like as
Exactly.
Creflo Dollar says, if I spend all my time making sure he's happy, and he spend all his time making sure I'm happy, then guess what? We happy.
Happy. Right.
Ain't no me in it. Ain't no
Right.
I in it. It's
Right.
about us. And
Right.
so that's what couples don't do anymore. Everybody is worried about what they made me feel, and they made me do that, and look how they do that, and pointing the finger and blaming. If I
Right.
spend all my time working on making sure you good, and you spend all your time making sure I'm good, we both good.
Exactly. I actually heard what is his name? Oh my goodness. Andy Stanley say something very similar to that very point. You know, if you are making sure, like you just said, making sure that that other person is happy and they're making sure that you're happy, it's almost a competition of who can make
And
the
who
other
can
one
do? You're gonna
happy.
try to outdo each other, right?
Yes.
You're gonna
Yes.
try to
And it makes
outdo
for
each
such a
other.
peaceful household. That makes for such a peaceful,
Which means the kids are peaceful. See,
right.
when you're a
And
unity,
they have an
they
example.
can work because you're the head and everything trickles down, just like the church, right? Just like the pastor. So, what I'm saying is, when you two get on the same page, you'll see how quickly the kids get on the same page.
Right.
You be like, they disruptive and they all over the place and they always because you and him out of sync.
Right.
You
Right.
two get in sync and the kids will fall in line.
It's but the unfortunate, and that's so true, and that is great, and I'm so happy for you all that are joining in. I'm so happy to see you all. Goodness gracious, so happy to see you all. But what's happening? The dynamic of what's happening, which is so unfortunate, Kiba, is we've got people who are now dabbling in things
Mm,
that
Yeah.
that maybe they hadn't before, or now they've been exposed to. Or, and I'll
Mhm.
give you an example of what I mean. You've got kids now who are pretty much, they're at home, but they're unsupervised. So now online pornography
Ugh, it's
is open
huge. Yeah.
game.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
bullying is ridiculous.
Mm.
They have all this free time. The bullying, the cyberbullying,
Cyberbullying. Yes.
ridiculous. You've got people who, and I just heard this the other day, people who weren't drinkers before because of the anxiety and stress, now they're drinking. People who didn't smoke before, and I'm not talking about cigarettes, now they're smoking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're people
Anxiety.
habits, people are eating more, and eating disorders are one of the, I mean, eating, having an eating disorder, not just eating, having an eating disorder is
Mhm.
deadly. Like you were just saying, what you put into your body, but when it gets to the point where you are harming yourself, you got to think about what you said earlier. What about after this?
Mhm.
So you're in the midst of this. Now you're picking up habits and these different things that weren't you weren't doing before. And so now you've got a spouse or a loved one. It doesn't even have to be a spouse, and you're seeing them going down this rabbit hole, and they're in the home with you, and now there's another area of contention because
Self-medicating.
this
Self-medication.
that's where I'm headed.
Self-medication. So, we know anxiety and depression are the top two
Yeah,
reasons diagnosis
yeah.
um, for everything, which to me, again, is just living in the tenses. Anxiety and depression are only your tenses. It's your past, your present, and your future. You're
Mm,
living in the past, worried about the future, but you're not present. And so you have anxiety or you have depression. And that's all it is. You are in you know what I'm saying? So you're living in the past, worried about the future, and you're not present with what's happening to you right now. And so, but the other thing is fear. So fear is the root of many things, right? I'd say we only operate from two places. We only operate from pride or we operate from fear. And so fear brings about distrust. It brings about um, low self-esteem. It brings about self-harm, self-hate, right? And it manifests itself in so many different ways. I know we only think of fear. We think of the fright part.
right.
But when you think about fear from the context of I don't love myself. I don't know myself. Um, what's going to happen to the world tomorrow? Those type of things. And so, again, fear is dominant on this earth right now. I truly believe because we're in identity crisis.
Wow.
Okay. So
Wow.
God has been dealing
I'm
with
gonna
me
need you to
about
say that
identity
again.
crisis because
I'm
we're
gonna need
in
that.
identity crisis. You don't know who you are and you don't know whose you are. So therefore, you are operating out of what somebody have told you to be, and it's not working.
It's not.
It's not
It's not.
working. We were never supposed to assimilate to this.
Wow.
We were not supposed to assimilate to this culture. Think about that. Because this is not our culture. We were never supposed to assimilate to that. So we are out of order, we're out of line, and we're out of sync. And so that's why everything is thrown off. Your body is thrown off, and your mind is thrown off, and your spirit is thrown off because you're in an identity crisis because you don't know who you are and you don't know whose you are. So, yes, people are self harming because they're searching for something that they don't know what it is because they don't know who they are. So, they're going to try a little everything. I'm going to try a little drugs. I'm going to try a little alcohol. I'm going to try sex. I'm going to try money. I'm going to try, you know, food. I'm going to try all these things until I get that feeling that I'm trying to scratch an itch that I can't scratch because you don't know who you are or whose you are. And
Right.
until you figure that out, until you get with Christ, until you figure out whose you are, and He can show you who you are, then the itch will be scratched. But until then, we're going to keep self medicating and keep going down this rabbit hole.
Right. And the unfortunate part about that self-medicating is a lot of it is right here. A lot of it is self people are going right here,
Oh my goodness,
and
yes.
they are on it from the time they get up in the morning throughout the day, and
It's a
because it's intoxicating to them, or and
It's
now
a distraction. It keep
it's a
you from
distraction.
it keeps you from dealing with the present. Again,
Right.
it keeps you from dealing
And
with
it
the
and it
present.
adds to the anxiety because now you're reading
Yes.
misinformation because of course we all know the internet, if you found on the internet, it's got to be true.
But like I said,
So,
you so funny.
but you've got these people who not just and I'm talking about little kids, you know, elementary
Yeah.
school
Yes.
kids,
Yeah.
middle school age kids, high school kids, college age kids, adults, middle age seniors. No one is exempt.
But
No
what I
one.
say, it keeps you from being present.
Right.
It keeps you from being present, which what causes anxiety and or depression. So it keeps you from being present.
Right.
This is what it does to you. So it's just saying to you that it's another form or another trap to keep you in the cycle that's happening in the world right now. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. So this has been great, and those of you who are commenting and liking and sharing, thank you so much. Love you guys deeply. So
Somebody said take calls. I don't know if you saw that earlier. It was
no, I
like
didn't. Oh my goodness, I didn't see
it was
that. Oh
like
my
take
goodness.
calls. You know I love calling shows, but yeah.
I'm gonna have to work on that. I'm gonna have to that's next on the to do list is to have a show where you can call in. But if you do have questions, please feel free to post them.
Yeah,
Um,
put your questions in here. But yeah, I mean, you're so right. Pornography is definitely on the rise. But I mean, we live in a sexualized world. Think about it. Everything is sexualized now, like
right.
from food to to everything is sexualized. So
Yeah.
it's so easy, and I think that's part of the agenda is the pornography. I mean, cartoons. Like
I
that's
was
why you
just
have to
going to
be
say.
aware of your kid, what your kids are watching. Like it has so much demonic and
And just because they're
pornographic stuff.
drawn with big cute eyes and they big old cheeks and they look cute, so you think it's so harmless. Oh, let me
Mm-mm,
tell you
mm-mm.
because you see them. But if you sit in there for a minute and listen to what they're saying,
Listen to
oh
what they're
my,
saying. Yes, it's a
oh
lot of
my.
demonic connotations, and I don't even know if it's even hidden anymore.
It's
It's just out in
okay.
the open now. Yeah.
It's out and well, that's the thing. It's hidden in plain sight.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Mm.
thing. It's hidden in plain sight, and so we think it's okay. But it's really not. If you just turn it on, or put on YouTube and oh, that's cute, and you're not listening to what they're saying,
Right.
there's some of the most disrespectful stuff that they're teaching your kid. There's some of the most harsh and sexual innuendos that
My
they make.
Facebook went off. Did yours? I'm sorry to cut you off. Did your Facebook go off?
No,
Okay. All right. Just making sure. I ain't wanted to go out. I ain't mean to
no,
cut you off. I'm sorry.
no
Mhm.
problem. So we've got a lot to contend with, but since while we are here, we're talking about relationships, faith, and the pandemic. While we're here, we're in
Mhm.
our homes. We're able
Yes.
to communicate like this. We're able to have platforms where we can communicate like this. And so, you know what? We want to make sure that people are aware that they
Yes.
have
Please.
tools
Please.
that they need, that they know that listen, it's okay to turn off. Thank you, Sister Cheryl. Thank you so much. It's okay to turn off the devices and
Please
grab
turn
a
off the
book,
devices.
for goodness sake. Break
But
it.
even if like start some traditions, start some
Start
new
some.
traditions, and I
Yeah.
love what you put on Facebook with you and your family, and y'all,
Yeah.
every day y'all come up with something new, and we're gonna dance today together, or we're gonna play
Listen,
the game
we
together.
have been entertaining our neighbors. I'm gonna just tell you that we've been in the driveway getting it. I'm trying to tell you, but it's fun. I mean, I'll share this with you. We were in the driveway the other day, and I'm just dancing. Oh my gosh, I'm dancing like the saying goes, dance like nobody else is watching. And there was a man walking down the sidewalk behind me, and I had no
You
idea.
didn't know he was behind you.
And I was like, I told my daughter, I said, you could have told me. But hey, he just like,
He
hi.
laughed and waved. Yeah. Listen.
But do something different. You know.
Yes, start some new traditions with your family. This is the time to, I always say, get back to basics, right? Get
Okay.
back to the basics and what really matters. And if it's just you and your spouse, or you and your mom, or who are you and your sister, like, start that bonding thing over,
Yeah. Yeah.
recreate some things, make some
Yeah.
new memories. And so,
Yeah.
like I said, my husband, like, what games we gonna play? We gotta get some games or something, baby, because we can't just be sitting in here. But just think of some, like, this is the time that we all wanted. Think about it. We all wish for and dream. Everybody talked about, I wish I could have a week off. I wish I could do this.
Mhm.
He gave it to
Just
you.
didn't know how it was
What are
gonna
you gonna
come.
do? Exactly. So what are
Mhm.
you gonna do with it? And
Right.
so
Right.
this is the time to do all those things that you've talked about for
That you
years. You
talked
want to
about.
write that book. You want to,
Mhm.
you know,
You
whatever,
wanted more
create
time with your spouse. You want him to pay it more. Well, he's
more attention.
attention to you because you're right
Right.
there. You
That's
wanted
for real.
time to redo the house. You want to
Yeah, you wanted to paint
you
the
just
room
didn't
or
know how it
whatever.
was gonna come.
Didn't know,
You
and it's here. So
it's
take advantage of it and don't stress and don't worry. I am a firm believer in resting in Jesus. I promise you,
yeah,
like, I have no cares. I probably get on everybody's nerves when I say I have no cares. I don't worry. I really don't. I mean, what I'm gonna do?
right, right.
I can't go out here and make no money fall out the sky. I can't make no toilet tissue be in the store. I Right? I mean, all I can do is what I'm going to do and get
Yeah,
out the way. And I
yeah,
think if people can learn to just, like you said, breathe
yeah.
and just relax for a minute and enjoy the process. And so,
That's
um,
the thing. Enjoy the process. I'm glad you said that because a lot of times we look at this as a negative. We look at this as we're on lockdown. I had to tell my dad this once a couple of weeks ago. Stop saying, watch what you say. Stop saying you're on lockdown. That's so negative. You
this,
are just you're at home and you have the opportunity to do some things that didn't have the time to do before. You're not on lockdown. Watch what you say because what
that's
you
what I
say
said. Well,
creates an atmosphere. It
your
creates an
mouth
atmosphere.
is your greatest weapon. Your
Yeah,
mouth is your greatest weapon. You are living the words that you spoke yesterday. The life you have today are the words you spoke yesterday. And
exactly.
so,
Exactly.
like, it is so, that's why I said, stop saying that word. Stop saying that C word. Stop
Yeah.
speaking it out. Stop
Yeah.
talking about it.
Right.
Stop
Start
even
giving it power.
addressing it.
Right.
Yeah.
You give it
Start
power.
speaking against it. It's gone. We're back
Right.
to, look, we're back and we're better. How about that? Now we're
How about
back to
that?
back. We're back and we're better. We're doing better
Exactly.
than ever. And so I know Miss Pearl said address some people who have lost loved ones during this time. And it's really, really, we're in a new normal, y'all. Like, this is the way the world is about to go as far as funeral. Think about it. You can only have 9 people, I think, at a funeral, and they gotta be 6 feet apart, or you
Mm-hmm.
gotta do this video thing to see your
Mm-hmm.
loved ones, or
Mm-hmm.
we're in a new normal, and so we have to adjust. And I'm probably not the person to ask about grief, because I'm telling you, people get mad at me because, again, I am a person that just trusts God on every level. I believe in Him. Period. I don't believe that no coincidences. I don't believe that it wasn't your time. I don't believe, oh, the government did it. I do have some conspiracy theories. Don't get me wrong. We're not gonna go there right now. But what I'm saying to you is, I would make people mad because I'm always like, we all leaving here. You do know that, right? Like, we leaving here one day. And
I would suggest you tickle me. I promise you tickle me. I promise you. Oh, I just love Kiba. I would suggest, you
and I'm
know,
sorry, I don't mean to be, I don't want to
no, no,
seem,
I didn't think you. No, no, no. That what you said was perfect. What you said was perfect. I'm just interjecting. I'm adding on to what you said. I'm not.
okay.
No, no, no. What you said was fine. No, no, because
I know.
because this is a new normal. We do have to trust God. There are no coincidences. Who God called, He called, and who what's supposed to happen is supposed to happen. But as far as those that remain, dealing with how it's being,
How to cope with it, how to
you
deal
know,
with it afterwards. Yeah, the
and
aftermath.
those who have to go to the services or you know what, even the ones that may not even know the people who have passed away, but because we have to hear it every day that this person passed away or that person, sometimes we take it on,
Yeah.
um, and take on that. You don't have to take on the weight
And let
of
me say, it
the
is
loss.
sad. It is so sad the
Yeah,
way that we have to conduct business now or deaths now, even
right,
with the whole New York thing, and they got to put the people in the
right,
different. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrific.
right.
I think that I think that we're getting a taste of what some other countries have had to deal with a long time, and we've been really spoiled and entitled, and we've taken a lot for granted. I think that's another reason we're in this situation because we've taken a lot for granted, and so I would say this: it is horrible what's happening. If you've lost someone during this time, I'm praying for your peace of mind and your peace in your spirit that you have peace and that you can move on from
Mhm.
this because it is horrible and nobody should have to bury both parents from this, this thing. People have lost parents and both parents and
Right.
children and all type of things. So i'm not I'm not a evil disheartening person by any means.
No,
I'm
no,
just saying that I think I guess for me, grief is so different for me because my father family, they never talk about death. They just hurry up and bury you and don't talk about it because I guess that's their way of dealing with it. So I'm a person that's going to talk about it, and I want to know, well, how were they and how did they treat and people are afraid of death, and I'm not afraid of death because I'm not afraid of living. How about that?
how about
So you know what I'm saying? So I guess for me, it's different. I look at death differently because I'm not afraid of living. So I'm not afraid to die. And
I
so
yeah,
I'm
and
just
I
excited that
definitely,
people,
I
yeah.
agree with that. I totally agree with that. And I think, and someone said on here, uh, people's different, there are different coping
Yeah,
mechanisms for
yes,
people.
definitely,
But I think
definitely.
I think it goes back to something you said a moment ago, actually, about our new normal, and that is, if you have a loved one, and this was true for me, for a loved one that I lost. If you have a loved one that has passed away, whether it was due to
Right.
this or
Mhm.
whatever the case is, find a way to honor them in a way, find a new tradition,
Mhm.
find something that you do that works for you, that helps you to get through it. Maybe it's
Mhm.
cooking their favorite meal,
Mhm.
or creating something, if you're the creative type, making something, or going.
Listen to their favorite song, or maybe
Exactly.
going through some
You
old
know,
pictures or
create,
something.
exactly. Or if that's too much for you, do something that you all talked about doing, or go somewhere when we can go somewhere again. But find something that is a comfort to you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Find something that is a comfort to you, and try your best not to. And this is for people. This is just my little humble opinion. For those of us who have not lost anyone due to this situation, but have to see it all the time,
Yeah.
turn some of that
Mm.
off.
Oh
Because
wow.
what
Yeah.
happens is that empathetic side of you, where
Mhm.
you begin to feel and take on that grief of
Other people
someone
stuff.
else that you
Mhm.
not even don't even know, but because you see, or hear of someone who's lost this person or that person, and you are now taking on ownership of someone else's grief. That's a lot to carry, because there's a lot of people,
It is a
and
lot of
that's
people,
not
and it's a
fair to
lot.
you.
That's
That's not
another
fair.
reason to turn off the TV too,
Yeah,
especially if you have lost someone in this
yeah,
crisis right now. Turn off the noise and the TV so you don't have to keep hearing the numbers and the numbers and the numbers.
yeah.
And so and find something that helps you, bring you some peace, whatever that is for you. You need to figure out what that is for you. Like you said, if it's the birds chirping in the morning, or if
Yeah,
it's some music, or
yeah,
um
yeah.
I don't know. And if you need to cry, cry. Let your emotions be your
Yes,
emotions. Be in
yes.
the moment
Let
with
it
your
go.
emotions. That's
Yeah.
okay. And
Yes,
so I think that's a lot of time what people fear. They can't just, oh, I can't keep cry.
Yeah.
cry, scream, holler, yell at God, tell he know anyway. Tell him you mad if you need to tell him. You know what I'm saying? And let him work that out with you.
Yes.
But I think that again, I know me. Like I said, I'm funny like that because I just have a different perspective on death, but I understand grief. I do. And
Yes.
it's very hard to lose people that you care and you love for, and you miss them. Absolutely, you miss them. But they are in a better place, and there's no more sickness and no more pain. No more
Absolutely.
sickness and no more pain.
Absolutely.
They're and you know, and we miss them and we want them here, but we have to know that they're in a better place.
Absolutely, my dear. Well, I know we've got to wrap up. This has been great. Thank you, Pearl. I'm hoping that that was helpful
I
to
hope
you.
so, Miss Pearl. I'm
Um,
sorry.
no, no, I love that because we need that. We can't all have the same thought
Right,
process. We can't
right.
all. Nah, what
Mm-mm.
good is that? This is helpful. This is totally helpful. Um, and definitely yes, learning what we can do and can't handle, what we can and can't handle, Minister Linda, is so important. You know your limits. You know your limits, and
Call some family members and have some conversations about that person. You know, some good conversation, not
good
no bad
conversation.
conversation, some good conversation. You
Sometimes
remember
that can
when?
become like the funniest
Yeah,
things.
that's what I was gonna say. And have a good
Yes,
hearty laugh. You know,
yes,
you remember when John did such, and just laugh about it, and so you can mourn properly, grieve
absolutely.
properly. Hmm.
Absolutely. So I know we have to wrap up, but I definitely did not want to leave the broadcast without touching on this very important topic. And you and I have talked about it before, and even before we got on the broadcast, we talked about it. And that is, I don't want people to feel like, well, there's two things before I even get to that last thing. I want those of you who are in your homes and your you know with your families and your loved ones, and things are going great. Keep doing what works well. Keep it up. If it's family game night, if it's getting up, it's funny you should
Hmm.
say a moment ago, Kiva, about the listen to the birds. I have a new appreciation for hearing the birds chirping in the morning. It's like it's
Aren't they louder? They're louder, aren't they?
yes.
I promise you they're louder. They
I got
talking to us.
yeah,
They
yeah.
telling you something.
Yes, so I go out there and I listen to them, but I have a new appreciation. So whatever is working for you at the house, whether
Hmm.
you're at home by yourself or it's just you and a spouse or a whole house full of people, whatever's working, keep doing that. Whatever's not working, you know what's not working.
That mouth.
you know, work on that. You
Yeah.
can't you don't try to fix everybody else. Work on the person that you can work on first, right?
Yeah.
And whatever's working well, keep letting that thing work well, because we're in this together. We are in this together. One of the things we did at on Easter was we got on Zoom with my mother and other family members. We have a nephew who's in the military, and so we did it early enough where he could join us because he's overseas. And so that was a new normal. Easter, we
Nice.
all go over to
Yeah.
mama,
Right. And
mama them
eat.
house, right?
Right.
but
Right.
but that wasn't the case, so we were all together still. So do things like that. If you don't have a Zoom account, some get that you can get it for free. You can be on there for 40 minutes, and
WhatsApp or Skype is
all the
free. Yeah. Mhm.
there's so many different options. Call that loved one you haven't talked to in a while. Not all family dynamics or relationships, not even family friendships, not everything is bad. Just sometimes we just haven't talked to each other because
That's
we
true.
just haven't talked. It's not because
Yeah.
we had
Something's
all
wrong. Right.
right. Now it's an opportune time. The things that you've been meaning to do, get to them. You've been meaning to
Absolutely.
change some things around. You've been meaning to write in that journal that you've been meaning to write in. And
Yes.
once this is over, that journal could be the book that you've been trying to write.
Mhm.
You write about your experiences now, and then when you come out on the other side of this, take it to a publisher and get that bad boy published. You never know listen to what God is telling you during this time. The things there's some things that I prayed about a year ago, 2 years
Mm.
ago, and I'm seeing now that I have the opportunity to do them, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yep.
wow,
Yep.
God, I didn't know how it was going to come, but here it is. So I want to encourage you guys with that before I forget. But here's the thing that I want to keep on everyone's radar, because if you hear something, if you suspect something, if you think something, I want you to speak on it to authorities or whomever you can get your hands on. And that is, let's not forget that yes, we are in the midst of a situation now, but sex trafficking has not ceased.
You know, I work with that. Yeah.
It
Mm.
has not ceased.
Mm-mm.
There are people, there are children, there are women, there are young men who
Mhm.
at this moment, because the pandemic has gotten our eyes looking here, that
Mhm.
the predators are having a field day. So
Absolutely.
I don't want you guys to take it for granted that everybody's in the house
Mm-mm.
holding hands and singing kumbaya. This is a time, if ever there was a time, we need to be digi- vi- vi-
Please be
diligent in
aware.
prayer and being
Listening,
aware.
your
Yes,
ears and your eyes calibrated and listening. I'm gonna let you go, but I told you I was in DC working with a client last week, and before I left, a young lady was outside screaming. Um, had an altercation with her so-called boyfriend, and they got to fighting and that type of thing. I truly believe it was a human trafficking situation. I work in human trafficking as well,
right.
but and the EMS workers and the police, they did a really good job of trying to gather information and see if that was the case, because I think they were thinking the same thing like us, like I'm adding up with these stories. And so yes, it is very real, it's very prevalent, and it's happening in your neighborhoods. Like, I know we don't want to think it's happening in our it's happening in your neighborhoods. And so keep your eyes and your ears open, and if something looks suspicious, call somebody, get somebody out there. Um, and if you have a gut feeling, trust your instinct, trust your gut, trust your Holy Spirit that it is something wrong. Um, yeah, it's a lot happening right now. It has not eased up. So, absolutely.
Absolutely. So before we go, Professor Kiba, if you could tell people how they can reach you, and if you have anything that's coming up, any virtual events, but tell people how to contact you if they want to get more information on relationships, if they want to, contact you beyond tonight's broadcast.
Awesome. So, of course, you can find me on all social media as Professor Kiba Richmond Green. But, of course, as I told you, Chelsea, I just launched my new business, Better, BETT-R Life, Better Life, which is a mobile concierge service where we actually come to you and help you manage your crisis anywhere from 7 to 31 days. So, we actually come into your home or your environment that you choose, and we help you manage your crisis so you can get these tools that we've been talking about all night, so you can help your children or your marriage or your relationship to grow and foster. So again, I'm gonna put it in the comments here, but it's
Yes, please.
better, BETT-R dot life, better life. So you can always reach me there as well.
That is awesome. Oh my goodness, this has been wonderful. And thank you guys for joining in. Of course, you can reach me on all social media platforms, Pain and Glory, Payne, Pain and Glory. And here, well, obviously you're here in our Pain and Glory page, but we also have Pain in the Pews group page, which is
Yes.
PAIN, Pain in the Pews group page, where we have right here on Facebook as well. Um, and you'll actually later on tonight you will see an announcement. One of the things that I was talking about that I had the opportunity to do. I am a part of an anthology on mental health, and the book is being released. We're having a launch on Friday, and you will see a radio
Yay.
broadcast about it tonight. We're posting it tonight, so I'm excited about that. So be sure to follow us. We have some things coming up next month. We're having our 10th annual Restoring the Bond Mother-Daughter Love Retreat. It's going to be virtual. This is our 10th year, and I'm super excited. It'll be a little different because it is virtual, but it's going to be great. We're celebrating 10 years of bringing moms and the daughters together, and we want previous attendees that were with us 10 years ago, who now the the teenagers are now moms now, and
Wow.
we want um, new attendees as well. It's going to be right here online, and we're looking forward to that. That is going to be on May the 9th. So we're looking forward to that. Professor Kiba, thank you so
Thank
much for
you so much
joining,
for
for
having
being
me.
a part of this. We're definitely going to do it again because this has been more than awesome. And I really thank you from the bottom of my heart for you just being a part of this. Thank you, everyone that's on. Thank you, Minister Linda. Hi, Lisa. Hey, Latricia. Oh my goodness, good to see you.
Yep. Hey,
Thank you,
Trish.
Cheryl, for all the comments. Pearl, thank you, Minister Michelle. Thank you all so much. And those who are watching the replay, we definitely want to hear from you. Those of you watching the replay. Again, I am Shelcelia Cookie Payne. We're here with Professor Kiba Richmond Green. Thank you guys for joining us. Join us next week on next Monday.
Hmm.
We'll have another guest. We will be talking about grief on next week.
There
Interesting
we go.
stuff. The
There
topic,
we go, Miss Pearl. Come in
there you
next
go.
week.
We will be talking about grief during the pandemic. That will be next Monday night, 7 o'clock p.m. right here. So I look forward to seeing you guys. Have a wonderfully blessed night. I love you
Thank you.
guys, and we'll speak soon.
All right.